Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of BadgerBlitz TV. I'm senior writer Jake Kocorowski, of course, part of BadgerBlitz.com, your rivals.com destination for all things Wisconsin athletics from the recruiting trail inside Camp Randall Stadium and on the court of the Kohl Center. And, of course, big time for some former Badgers. We talk about Badger basketball this week on our podcast, but we're talking back some former Badgers. We had Scott Nelson on BadgerBlitz TV last week. Guess what, folks? We got another former Badger. You've seen him. Number 5 on the field. If my picture going to go there, you see that, those great pictures from Dan Sanger right there. You see him as well. All-American, Big Ten linebacker of the year. Folks, we got Leo Chenal on the show, and we got him right here. Leo, thanks for making time. How's everything going? Where are you at? And just how are you enjoying the experience of being in some warmer weather than here in Wisconsin?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Everything's going great. Like I said, I took off in like negative 5-degree weather, landed at nice 65, 70. Feels nice down here. I'm just loving the city. Most of all, I'm loving the training. It's been fun.
And say, talking about that, just what are you exactly doing down there? Where are you training? I know we talked a little bit beforehand, but where have you started training? What is your routine like, and just how is that process of now going and preparing for the NFL?
I'm in Scottsdale at Exos. Basically, it's a pretty simple, clean routine. Basically, get a running stuff. Basically, all the work on the field for like speed, agility, like sideways, acceleration, power on the field type deal. Then we go to position work in between that, get our recovery, anything we need, and then we'll have a lift in the afternoon, stuff like that. But it's a really clean schedule.
When did you talk about the -5 weather and whatnot? When did you actually leave? And just you talked about what you do, but how in terms of hours? How many hours per day are you putting in, and how many days per week do you get for that training?
I left. I believe it was the 5th I left. I spent a couple days at home, wanted to get my time with family before I just had to put my head down and work. Probably hours actually training. It's probably 2 hours to 3 hours a day. About three and a half hours a day, counting position work and stuff like that. So, like I said, it's not too much time wise, but when we get into it, we're going all out, and when we're off, it's all about taking care of the body.
And so, on top of that, you declare for the NFL draft, you play in your last game as a Badger, along with training, you're engaged now. Congratulations. How did that, that week was pretty crazy. So, and I guess just with the game and then being engaged, like, how did everything set up for you?
I'm not sure. I was like, you're talking about like the engagement and then the game?
Yeah. Yeah. How did, the whirlwind of emotions, just, how did that, you propose and then, yes, of course. And then you play in your final, what will be your final game? Just what were the emotions like in Vegas?
I was already having a great time. But I knew what I was planning, and the excitement kind of crept up on me, and the day was coming where I was planning it, and it is a big test because it's one of the biggest moments in your life is a proposal. But then you got to come back down to earth and say like, hey, we got to play a football game here. We got to go win this game. But to have those two things work out together perfectly, get the win on the field and off the field, it worked out really nice.
Now, Leo, I was going to say too, was it? You talked to us on the 14th of December. Next thing you declare on January 3rd for the draft. And I know you said a few weeks back that you were undecided. When did you when did you decide that you wanted to head to the NFL?
During those media interviews and talking with everybody, I was probably leaning one way of like, okay, I'm probably thinking about leaving, but I didn't want to say anything until I was 100% sure, and obviously you got a bowl game ahead. You don't want to be thinking about anything else. So a lot of my mental focus was into that game, but again, I was leaning one way for sure.
Yeah, and then when did you? I know we said when you let lean that one way. When did you finally? When was the hard date that you said, that's it. Like I'm going to take my, I've done what I did at Wisconsin. Now let's try the NFL. Was there a certain date, or was it after the bowl game, or that you said, let's go for it?
That for sure thing, like almost like the night of the bowl, like after the game, obviously, but that night, I'm like, okay, we accomplished what we wanted to accomplish for this game. We won, so now it's like, it all just fell together. It kept going stronger and stronger before the game, but I wasn't really thinking like, I can't wait to get out of here because I want to win the game, and I just care about the team, number one.
And so, I mean, what factors contributed in for you that to make that jump? Go from the college game and what you did. Multiple All America nods, All Big Ten linebacker of the year. What factors led into you deciding to want to go to the NFL then?
There were a few. The biggest thing for me, I would say, is just wanting to move on to the next chapter of my life. Now being engaged, I want to start a family soon. Just these goals that I have. It just felt right. You could look back and say like, okay, I had a statistically good season. I still need to work on this or that, but in reality, what it came down to was this that gut feeling like, okay, it's time to go to the next thing and do what's best for me and my future family.
And so, within that too, just, who did you tell first, and just, who did you all consult during that time to come to that conclusion too? Because I remember you talking about getting all the information and trying to make the best decision when you talked to us, in mid-December, but, who did you consult to help make that call?
Number one is, I talked to my family. I talked to my fiance, which was a huge thing. Because she likes to plan things out for me. I'm kind of a more day by day guy, but she's like, no, you gotta look ahead. So I definitely listened to her a lot. And then you got guys like Chris Orr, Jack Sitchie that are on the facility. They happen to be there, and those are great resources for any young guys coming in. Those guys are so knowledgeable about the game. So just listening and talking to them about pros and cons, and just sitting down and just having that discussion. I also talked to Coach Bostad a little bit too, get their side, and then the NFL, the draft advisory. Is that right?
Yeah.
I signed up for that. They also gave me a third round grade, which usually they're very conservative on their grades. I was honestly expecting a go back to school grade when I asked them, but they got me with the third round, and not that's going to determine whether I left or not, but it's just part of all the information.
Absolutely. So, I mean, we're going to go through, I don't know if you can see this on your screen and whatnot, but we put together some just your stats overall at Wisconsin, right? 115 tackles, 18.5 tackles for loss, 8 sacks, 2 forced fumbles last year. Butkus-Fitzgerald Big Ten Linebacker of the Year. All-American odds by multiple publications. Pro Football Focus, for those that like that grade, 91.2, which was the best on the defense. Looking at the defense as a whole, right? You and Jack Sanborn part of Death Row, and then the defense as a whole. Number 1 in rush defense, total defense, number 3 in third down. Like, you held opponents to under 30% on third downs. And then passing game, number 4 in passing efficiency defense, and number 5 in passing yards allowed per game. Just what's the one thing that you're proud of the most with what you accomplished this past season at Wisconsin with that defense?
When mentioning my stats, you forgot the 0 interceptions. I think that would 0 PBUs. No, I'm just kidding. But I would just say, like, all of this glory, all this is a testament to Coach Leonard, because before this group of guys, he had another group of guys, and they were playing lights out defense, and it's something that Wisconsin has become. It's something that's just in our blood. Is like we're gonna stop the run first of all, and then we'll take it from there. And we took great pride in that. We grew closer from it, especially with the first couple losses. We're like, okay, we're better than this. We're not as like we're not showing what we can be. So we just strapped it down and we put our head down, and we all grew really close, especially with that adversity in the beginning. And
so within that too, I guess with you talked about the 0 interceptions in the PBUs. I guess, what are you trying to work on with that? Going back to your training, what are you trying to work on to prepare? What feedback did you get about your game, and just how could it be tailored to the NFL? And what are some things they're telling you that you've heard not just from the NFL advisory committee, but others about how to what to expect at the next level and what to work on?
The biggest thing, like you guys know, definitely is the coverage aspect. Because today's NFL is a lot different than the 90s, early 2000s. It's a huge passing game. Linebackers need to be able to go out and cover. This last year I didn't think I showed it well enough. All of that is just change direction, being able to just see where the QB wants to go. I was a lot of times I was close to passing lanes, but difference between a half a foot can mean a ton when you see like 0 interceptions compared to 1 or 2 interceptions. It means a ton. But overall, I definitely can improve on awareness and coverage. That's definitely something we're working on, and if I can improve on that, that'll be huge for me.
And then I showed a picture just a second ago. I'll bring it back up on here. You and your brother John are holding the Freedom Trophy after the home finale against Nebraska. We can see your arms and the vein popping out of your head, not out of head, but out of your bicep, the head of your bicep, I should say, with the death row scribbled on there. But I was gonna say, playing with John, just how did it feel playing with a brother and you both making such a big impact on this team?
Coming from a small town, we never talked about going to college and playing. Like we thought, like, playing any division is respectable, and those guys work just as hard as Division I. But we're thinking, like, dang, we'd be lucky if we go D3. We never really thought about it like a lot, but be able to come from that small town and make step by step, gain trust with the coaches and your teammates. It's really like it's really satisfying just to travel that journey especially with your brother. We've done everything in life together, and just to go out the same year, which was also part of it is if like playing with my brother was awesome, and if he was going to stay another year, that might have, like, you never know. It, like, there's a lot of things that go into equation, but I just really appreciated the time I got with him.
So looking at next year, then, I mean, I'm going to talk to John next week here on BadgerBlitz TV. We talked just maybe about 15 minutes before you and I started talking, but when it comes to death row and who leads that group next year, I mean, you and Jack are both headed to the NFL. Either Mike Mascalunas, who was key reserve, but also four special teams type player, that phase of the game, and just what he's been able to do. Who in that next next group for death row, will carry on that tradition for what you and Jack have carried on with Chris Orr, Jack Sitchie, TJ Edwards, Ryan Conley. Those who's next to step up in your eyes for that position group?
You got those. I think those 3 big core players right now is Jordan Turner and Muma and Tate. Those guys have consistently shown that they're able to be out there and lead the team. Jake Cheney, like I've said, I'm excited to see him play. He's definitely got death row vibes. Anybody can attest to that. He's a hard-working Florida boy, he likes to say. So we'll see how far he comes this next year and how it goes for him. But I'm excited to watch these guys.
And say, real quick, what are death row vibes for those that don't know?
Death row vibes. I don't know. That's kind of a weird way to say it.
Yeah, okay.
But
fair. Fair.
Just like, I don't know, just like that. It's kind of hard to just a guy that's just willing to lay it on the line. There's certain things, like he just shows it, like the way he talks, so it's his mental toughness. He's always wanting to get in that scrappy situation, and he's a funny dude. So
we'll do some quick hitters for you before we let you go, Leo. My colleague Colton Bartholomew over at the Wisconsin State Journal talked back in October about your love of video games. I think he let off his lead for that story was around video games. What's your favorite game right now, and how many systems do you own?
Oh man, I've always been an Xbox guy, but honestly, I haven't pulled out my Xbox this time I've been here. I've been surprised at myself. We do have a lot of free time, but like I haven't come around to it. But I got into Halo Infinite, which was a pretty cool deal. We used to play those games growing up since I was in like 5th grade. We played that stuff with my brothers. We got those 4 screens, and like we're like, hey, no screen peeking and stuff like that. And it's just a bunch of memories and stuff like that come from it, and it's great nostalgia for sure.
It's funny though, because I played Halo when I was at UW, and so we played, though it wasn't like Wi-Fi, it was LAN, it was LAN networks connected in the dorm, 2nd floor versus 8th floor versus 10th floor. The 2nd floor was just like dominant, and so it was like 10th and 8th floor. We didn't like each other, but we still like teamed up against each other. Teamed up with that to go against the 2nd floor, which were just elite people that were playing nationally. Like it was just insane. I was gonna say, with that though, with the news, what do you think about Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard and now having like the Call of Duty, World of Warcraft games too? Like, have you heard about that? And just, are you a Call of Duty guy too?
I did play a little bit of Warzone, like that, a lot of Warzone especially with my brother, but I haven't really heard any of that news, to be honest. But I'm kind of one of those guys. I don't really stay in the loop of things, but I love Halo for sure.
Awesome. Well, gosh, I'm gonna have to that makes me want to tell my wife, ask my wife, ask my wife. Like, I need to get an Xbox, because I mean, that's like again, that's what my roommates used to do in college, freshman through senior year, man. Real quick though, breakout player on defense. Who do you think is going to be the breakout defensive player for Wisconsin in 2022?
Breakout means like they didn't necessarily show it. Now they're going to step up and have a year. Oh man. You can't say Nick Herbig because he already had a year. I'm interested to see who the starting linebacker is. Because we got to lead the defense as a linebacker. So, whether it's JT, Tate, or Muma, definitely JT's showing some flash. If he got 2-3 interceptions in this season with a limited amount of reps, let's see if he can get 10, 15 interceptions with all the reps he's getting this year. So I'm excited for sure.
I was gonna say, he had 7 reps, I think, according to Pro Football Focus in the Las Vegas Bowl, and he had 4 tackles, including a tackle for loss. So I was like, well, that stood out to me, and whatnot. And yeah, the 2 interceptions out, in back-to-back weeks. There for offense though, what do you think for offensive breakout player in your eyes?
Oh man, I don't care about offense. Come on, I don't care about those guys. Just kidding. Oh man. I really do feel like Graham is going to continue to take those steps. He's shown a lot of improvement, and I think personally this is going to be his year. And
then last question for you. I mean, you and I talked about it just a bit ago with lifting. When it comes to where you're at for bench, where you're at for squat, and other things, and just how many should we expect you? How many reps of 225 pounds should we expect you to do coming up?
I mean, I know you got that 20 number, so I just got to beat that number right now. That's no, but I am down. I'm down a little bit right now. This season got me a little bit, so right now I'm just working back. We're kind of doing this, progression type deal right now. Hoping the linebacker record's 41. I don't know how realistic that is. Right now, it's being realistic. It's looking to be anywhere from 38 to 40. Hopefully, I'm hoping for 42. That's all I say.
Excellent. And then I guess last question for you: what's next for you in terms of have you received any invites to the NFL scouting combine, or what's the training schedule for you? And are you pro day coming up a couple months down the road too?
I have not received the invitation yet. I know, talking to like a few guys, they say sometimes like guys will get it during the season, sometimes they'll get it later. It's kind of all over the place. But yeah, I'm not sure about that, when that's going to be in. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to that combine, the pro day. What is that, like 6 weeks from now? So 6 weeks. So definitely just putting my head down and working, and I'm excited.
Excellent. Leo, man, we appreciate you making time for us tonight on this Wednesday evening, man. Been a pleasure covering you. Thank you for answering all our questions, whether win or loss, or good question, or maybe not the greatest phrase questions, or whatnot too. So I appreciate everything you've done and talked to with us over the past 3 years, man. Best of luck, warmest wishes, and looking forward to seeing you hopefully back on Pro Day coming at the absolute least in a couple months.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks so much for having me,
folks. course, Leo Chenal. I am Jake Kocorowski. We're going to end the program right here. Make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you guys subscribe to, of course, BadgerBlitz.com. I'll be back next week, taking a couple days off. We'll be back next week talking a lot with more. We'll talk to John Chenal, talk to others. Stay tuned. Once again, this is Badger Blitz TV. Y'all take care. Have a great week.